Hello, everybody. This is James Allen on today's Silverside podcast. I'm going to talk with Rick Geiler, the principal of Silverside, about the recent stock market activity and how it relates to advisors. Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Hey, James.
All right. So what I wanted to ask you first was, what are you seeing when you look at the market recently?
Okay, well, the markets have had a pretty good run-up the last maybe 5-6 years since we had the banking crisis back in 2008, 2009. But we've kind of topped out here in the last several months, and we're seeing a lot of volatility up near the highs, and we're starting to see some pretty sharp pullbacks.
How can some of your advisors use this in their practice with some of this recent, information?
Right. Well, I really think the key thing for advisors to focus on, rather than the exact level of the market, is the volatility of the market, and use that to advise their clients on the positioning of their risk assets.
Okay.
How much exposure do you have in the market, and at your age and given your personal situation, your retirement objectives, is that prudent? And is this a time to take a look and maybe reallocate some assets out of risk assets into more safe money alternatives?
All right. So if I was an agent, what would be some of those examples? Would I would want to talk to like a client that I have that's 35 to 40, maybe someone that's a senior citizen,
Right.
Who should I go talk to as a salesperson first?
Right. Well, generally, advisors in our business, their clientele tends to be out of the older mix that are actually either approaching or in retirement. But oftentimes they will talk to a younger person, 35, 40 years old, who's saving up for retirement. And those people are going to tend to have a little bit more of a long-term perspective. And maybe they should have maybe 60, 70, 80% of their assets at risk, whereas somebody in retirement at age 70 probably wouldn't want any more than 25 or 30%, unless they were like a Warren Buffett or somebody with billions of dollars. Obviously,
right.
They'd be in a different situation.
So, Rick, if I'm an agent, that would be the first group of people I would reach out to in my book of business, right?
Right. Generally speaking, you're going to be doing retirement planning or asset positioning for people who are maybe 55, 60 years old. And at that point, you're going to want to talk about fixed products. And this is the best time in a long time to be selling fixed indexed annuities. You have very low interest rates, very low bond returns. CD returns are near zero. You can show people a product that they can put their resources into, probably get an upfront bonus, get some guaranteed crediting, and maybe even some of the upside should the market continue higher,
right?
But with no downside market risk. If, in fact, some of the stuff we're hearing that, hey, maybe China is going to have to recapitalize their banks like we had to in 2008 and 2009, and there's another shoe to drop, and the market does take a major leg lower.
It doesn't affect this.
Right. You would be in a fixed product. You would get some of the upside of the market, but your assets wouldn't be at risk if there was a sharp downturn.
Okay. So mine is like an Armageddon situation. You're okay.
Right.
Okay.
And a younger person, again, like you would talk about a 35, 40-year-old person, if they take a pretty good clip, they've got years to recover. If you're 70 years old and you lose 40 or 50% of your retirement nest egg, you're going to have a serious problem. And this is the time, while the markets are still relatively high, to approach people and don't necessarily try to talk them out of all of their favorite stocks all at once, and don't necessarily talk to them about any one particular thing, but talk about are you allocated properly? Do you have too much at market risk given your situation?
All right, so how can we get a hold of you?
Well, the best thing to do is give us a call at 480-998-1286, or you can also visit us on the web at silversideinsurance.com.
All right, Rick, that was great information. For all your agent resources, go to silversideinsurance.com. That's silversideinsurance.com. And until next time, this is James Allen with Rick Geiler on the Silverside Podcast.